Hello students, in the last lecture we did mutual inductance. We derived the formula for the mutual inductance of the system of two solenoid where one solenoid was kept inside the another solenoid. We can take a system of any two coils also, as we did in experiment number 3 of Faraday's experiment. So in that, if you remember, in that experiment, we were having a two coil. One coil was connected to a battery via key and another coil was connected to a sensitive galvanometer. And we tap when we tap the key, the current changes through a coil, say C2, and the current was induced in the coil C1. Now let us see what is the induced EMF in the coil. In the previous lecture, we have derived the formula for the mutual inductance, and we found that the mutual inductance in both the cases, that is M12 was equal to M21, that was a theorem of reciprocity. Now we will find out the formula for the induced EMF in the terms of mutual inductance. So one definition that we derived was that mutual inductance was equal to the ratio of the total magnetic flux linked with any one coil of the system of two coil when the current was passed through another coil. So we passed a current through say coil 2, and the EMF was linked with the flux was linked with coil 1 and EMF was induced in coil 1 only. That was how we derived the formula for mutual inductance. Now we will see what is the induced EMF in the coil 1. So again we consider the same diagram, that is the experiment number 3, in which we have a coil of n turns, and this coil is connected to a sensitive galvanometer which detect the presence of a current. Say this is coil number 1. The number of turns in this is say N1, and we consider another coil having number of turns equal to N2, and this coil was connected to a battery through a key, and we tap this key. We remember that the current is induced, or galvanometer shows deflection, if we keep on tapping the key. As soon as we stop tapping, the magnetic flux becomes constant. So the flux linked with N1 or the coil 1, let us say this is coil 2, and number of turns is N2. So you have to continuously vary the current I2. Let the current flowing through this coil is I2. Now we vary this current by continuously tapping the key. As the key is pressed, the current increases from 0 to maximum value. As a result, the magnetic flux linked with the coil 1 will be Phi1 N1 is equal to the current is passed through coil 2. So this was equal to Mi2, where M is here, N is the coefficient of mutual induction. Now there is no need to write the subscript 1 2 or 2 1, because we know that M12 is equal to M21. So we avoid that subscript now. So the flux is linked with coil 1 due to the current variation in I2. So this flux linked is directly proportional to I2. So if I2 increases from 0 to maximum, the flux will also increase in direct proportion from 0 to maximum. And when I release a key, the current will decrease from maximum to zero. So flux will also decrease. Now we should simply apply the Faraday law. We state that the change in the magnetic flux with respect to time is equal to the EMF induced. So according to Faraday law, EMF was equal to, so EMF will be now induced in E1, that is coil 1, sorry, it is denoted by E1. So this should be equal to minus N d phi 1 by dt. So this is our equation number 1. This is your equation number 2, that is a Faraday's law. So we derivate or differentiate this equation 1 on both sides with respect to time. So differentiating equation 1 with respect to time. So it becomes N1 d phi 1 upon dt is equal to m di2 by dt. That is equation number 3. So as I2 is changed, the flux linked with the coil 1 will also change. Now we substitute this equation 3 in equation 2, or we compare the equation, then E1 is equal to minus m di2 by dt. So this is the formula for the EMF induced in coil 1 due to the change or due to the variation in current I2. So this EMF will be induced till you keep on varying the current I in another coil. So from this equation also we can define the mutual inductance as, again we know this minus sign is due to Lenz's law, so E1 di2 by dt. So this is the another formula for mutual inductance. The one formula for mutual inductance is equal to the total flux linked with the coil to the current passed in the another coil. So this is the mutual inductance. There is a system of two coils. So it is also defined as the magnetic flux linked with one of the coil of a system of two coil per unit current passed through another coil. So we have this unit to be Weber per ampere, which is known as Henry. Another unit can be written from this. This is volt EMF, change in current with respect to time, that is ampere per second. So it becomes volt second per ampere, or the definition of mutual inductance can be, so mutual inductance is equal to the EMF induced in one coil of the system of two coils per unit time rate of change of electric current in another coil. We call it one coil, we call this coil 2 as another coil. So mutual inductance is also defined as the ratio of the EMF induced in one coil of the system of two coil per unit time rate of change of electric current in another coil. So now we understood the two things. One, we have to derive the formula for the inductance, that is the property of a coil, and another is how the EMF is induced in the terms of mutual inductance when the current is varied in any one coil of the system of the two coil. So this inductance we will see will play the role of inertia. So whatever role is played by mass in the mechanics, that role is played by the inductance in this electromagnetic induction. Now let us see example 6.9. In example 6.9, we have a system of two coils having radius R1 and R2. You have to find out the mutual inductance of the system of the two coils. So again we have a two coil. One is a coil having a radius R2 and we have another coil whose radius is R1. Both the coils are coaxial and it is given that R1 is less than R2. So R1 is an inner coil and R2 is a outer coil. We have to find out the mutual inductance of the system of these two coils. So first thing now you should remember is the flux linkage. Flux linkage means the total flux. Flux linkage means the total flux linked with any coil or any solenoid. So here 1 means the flux linked with coil 1, that was equal to M into the current passed in the another coil. So this indicate that mutual inductance is equal to M1 phi1 upon I2. This is the general formula for an inductance, whether it is a mutual inductance or we will see the self-inductance also. This is the general formula. It is the ratio of the total flux linked with the coil to the current passed through it. Then we found that M12 is equal to M21 is equal to M is equal to mu naught N1 N2 area of the inner coil or the smaller coil into the length. This was a mutual inductance of the solenoid which we derived in the last lecture. So this is the mutual inductance of the system of two solenoids. So this was for solenoid only. Then the EMF induced in any one coil, say one number, is minus M d of I2 upon dt. So this implies M can also be written as minus E di2 by dt. Minus sign we will see it opposes the change. Now we have a system of two coils, and as we discussed in the last lecture, it is better option to pass a current through an outer coil, because when we do this thing, when we pass a current through a coil or solenoid having a larger dimension, then the inner coil or inner solenoid is completely immersed in it. There is no variation in the flux linkage. But if I pass a current through an inner solenoid or inner coil, there is a variation in the flux linkage. So M12 and M21, it comes out to be same only, but it is difficult to measure the induction in one with respect to 2, assuming 1 is inside the 2. So here it is not given how the current is passed. It is in our hand. So if it is in our hand, let I2 be the current passed, or we can say set up in coil having radius R2. Now we know that when we write the formula for the flux, that is BA, the magnetic field is of the source. So first we find out the magnetic field of this coil. Suppose the current passed through this is I2. So this entire coil 1 will be immersed in it. So if the current is flowing anti-clockwise, the magnetic field lines are coming outward. So this phase will be behaving like a north pole. So entire coil is immersed. We assume that R1 is less than R2. So we write the formula for the magnetic field of this coil at its center. So the magnetic field of, say, coil 2, let us name this as coil 2 and this as coil 1. the magnetic field of coil 2 is B2 is equal to mu naught I2 upon 2R2, that is the magnetic field of coil 2 at its center. So we write the first magnetic field. Now where the induction will take place? Induction will be in coil 1. So the flux linkage with coil 1 is, there are no turns given, this is only one circular coil, so phi 1 is equal to Mi2. Now actually it should be M12 because the flux is linked with 1, so mutual inductance of 1 with respect to 2, but now we know the theorem of reciprocity, it does not make any difference, so we write M as the mutual inductance of the system. Therefore, now this flux can be written as B2, and area should always be of the inner coil because it is entire coil is immersed inside it, that is equal to Mi2. Now B2 is equal to mu naught I2 upon 2R2, area of inner, that is pi R1 square, that is equal to M into I2. So I2 is cancelled. So M is equal to mu naught pi R1 square upon 2R2. So this is the mutual inductance of the system of two coils which are kept concentric or which have a common center. So that is mu naught, the area of the inner coil, upon twice the radius of the outer coil. So you have to remember this formula for a system of two coil. So now for two coils M12 is equal to M21 is equal to M is equal to mu naught area of inner divided by twice the radius of outer. Now see, in all this expression of mutual inductance, it depends on the geometry of the coil and not on the current. So there is no current, it all depends on the geometry, number of turns, or you can say length, area, and the medium in the coil or a solenoid. Now let us come to the topic 6.9.2, that is self-inductance. 6.9.1 was mutual inductance, where we have a system of two coils or two solenoid. Now it is also possible that when a current through a single isolated coil is changed, the magnetic flux is changed, and change in magnetic flux always induced an EMF. So in this situation, when you try to change the current, or if you try to vary the current, you may increase or decrease the current, the flux linkage with that coil changes and the EMF is induced in the coil itself in such a way that it tends to oppose the magnetic flux that has produced it. That was the Lenz's law. So in mutual inductance, we vary the current in one coil and induction took place in the another coil. Here, as the name indicates, self-inductance, self-opposition. So an EMF is induced in a single isolated coil due to change in flux, by varying current in the coil itself or in the same coil. So EMF is induced in a single isolated coil due to change in flux by varying current in the coil itself, and this phenomenon is called self-induction. So this phenomenon is called self-induction. EMF will induced in a same coil. The flux is changed in the same coil by varying the current in the coil itself. So the coil itself will oppose the growth and the decay of the current. Now in experiment number 3, we connected the coil 2 with a battery through a tapping key. Now if I keep on tapping the key, that is, if I close the key, open the key, the magnetic flux will increase or decrease. So the current increase decrease will produce the magnetic flux which is variable, and varying magnetic flux will induce EMF. Now this induced EMF will oppose the change. It means, in other words, we can say the coil opposes the growth and the decay of the current. When the current is trying to grow or increase in the circuit or a coil, it opposes it. And when it tries to decrease, when the current in the coil is decreasing, it tries to oppose the decrease in the current also. It is due to the Lenz's law. So in Lenz's law also we have seen, when north was approaching, the coil opposes, the current was induced in such a way that it opposes the motion of the magnet. Now here there is no motion, there is variation in the current. This variation is in the current is opposed. So that is in self-inductance, we will see that the coil opposes the growth or the decay of the current. Now to understand this, let us consider a single isolated coil. So now there is no subscript like phi1, I2 like this. So let I is current through coil having N turns. Therefore, flux linkage N phi is proportional to I. Therefore, N phi is equal to L into I. Here, L is called self-inductance. L is called self-inductance. This is the property of a coil. Now, if current I is varied, that is, either we increase or decrease. So if current I is varied, that is increase or decrease, then flux linkage also vary. Therefore, N d phi by dt is equal to L di by dt. This is equation number 2. Now we come to the Faraday law, because the flux is changing. So according to Faraday's law, EMF induced should be equal to minus N d phi by dt. That is equation 3. So if I compare this equation 2 and 3, so comparing equation 2 and equation 3, we find that EMF induced is equal to minus L di by dt, and negative sign indicate that this induced EMF will oppose the change. So if the current is flowing, say, in an anti-clockwise direction, and if I say the current is increasing, it means the polarity of this phase is becoming more and more north pole, that is the polarity or the magnetic field lines or magnetic flux is increasing, so its polarity is getting stronger. but there will be an induced current. This is our applied current. There is an induced current which will try to oppose this increase in the current. So self-induction or self-induced EMF will only come into picture when you try to vary the current in the coil. It is like a friction which comes into the picture as soon as we start applying the external force. So if there is no external force, the friction is zero, external force is zero. But as soon as I start applying the external force, the friction comes into the picture and it tries to oppose me. And if the body does not move, then the friction opposing me is or was called as static friction. So a stage comes where we have a limiting friction and the body is on the verge of sliding. It give up, the friction give up, and then we need to do the external work or external force is required to be applied on that body so that it can move on any surface. So we apply the external force to overcome the frictional force. Similarly, when you try to vary the current in this coil, the self-induced current or self-induced EMF is set up in the coil. It opposes the growth and the decay of the current. Now later on we will see a component inductor whose job is to oppose the growth and the decay of the current. Now if it opposes the growth and the decay of current, what is its use in our daily life? So the use is very important. Friction also opposes our external force or the motion. Still, friction also play an important role. If there is no friction, we will not be able to walk also. The body will not be able to move. The vehicle will not be able to move. So friction has importance. Similarly, self-induction or mutual inductance, they oppose the growth and the decay of current. But when we will do the work against this self-induced EMF or self-induced current, then the energy will be stored in a inductor. So that component will be named as inductor. We will come to that component inductor also. So like a capacitor, we will have a component inductor which has a property of a self-induction. It initially opposes the growth and the decay of current, but we will do the work against this self-induced EMF or self-induced EMF or self-induced current. And whatever work we will do, whatever energy you will spend, that energy will neither be created nor destroyed. So it should be stored in it. So that will be called as the energy stored in a inductor, because there is an opposition. So this opposition will help us to make a component which is called an inductor. For the time being, what is the self-inductance? We have a single isolated coil. The current was passed through it. The current produced the magnetic flux, that is direct proportion. As long as the current is constant, the flux is constant. But as I start increasing the current, there is a change in the magnetic flux. At the same time, change in magnetic flux is equal to the negative of the EMF induced. That is, EMF oppose the change. This is called self-induced EMF. This E is called self-induced EMF. So again, if you want to define L, it can also be defined as minus E di by dt. So it is the ratio of the self-induced EMF. Sometime this will also be called as back EMF. Self-induced EMF is also called as back EMF. Why the name is back EMF? Because it opposes the change. It does not allow us to increase the current. If we try to increase this current, the self-induced current will oppose the change. If you try to decrease, so if I try to decrease this current, it will flow in the direction, in its direction. That is, if I try to increase it, it flow opposite. If I try to decrease I, then it will flow in the direction initially what was the direction in the coil. So it will always opposite to our applied current. So self-induced EMF is also known as back EMF. It is defined as the ratio of the self-induced EMF to the time rate of change of the current in the coil itself. So this is one definition. Again, the unit is volt second per ampere, which is again known as Henry, denoted by capital H. So this is the self-induction, and now we will see the self-inductance of solenoid. Now let us see the self-inductance of the solenoid. So we have derived the mutual inductance of the system of two solenoid. Now we have a single solenoid. So let us consider this single solenoid having n turns, and let the solenoid is very long. Long solenoid means its radius is less as compared to its length. Let I be the current flowing through this solenoid. So this is the initial geometry. So let us consider a solenoid, a very long solenoid through which we pass a current I. Let small n be the number of the turns. So we know about this. Now when the current is passed, when current I is passed through solenoid, through long solenoid, B is equal to mu naught Ni. This is equation number 1. Now again, the flux linked with the solenoid will be written as n times the phi. That is the flux linkage. So the flux linkage is n phi proportional to I. This is how we do the self-inductance or a mutual inductance. So therefore n phi is equal to Li. We have to derive the formula for L. Now flux, again, this, let us name this as equation number 2. So what we did in mutual inductance, now n phi is equal to, so this can be written as n into L, where small n is the number of turns per unit length. Flux, that can be written as the magnetic field into the area. So this is equal to NL mu naught n, so n square I. This is n phi. So equation number 3. Same way, same step what we did in mutual inductance. The only difference is there the current was passed through one coil and the induction was in the another coil. Here same coil, same induction. Now if I compare equation 2 and 3, then Li is equal to n square L into mu naught Ni, mu naught Ni, and there is area left, that is pi r square. So this is equation number 3. So NL B is equal to mu naught n square L, that is we substitute this equation in the place of area pi r square. So n square L mu naught pi r square into I is cancelled. So L is equal to mu naught n square pi r square. This is the self-inductance of a solenoid, and if we remember the mutual induction for a system of two solenoid, it was mu naught, here it is n square, there it was n1, n2, L is left here, so we have the term length also, I is cancelled, other term. So there we have L, here also we have L. There was where we were having the area of inner solenoid. Because inner solenoid was completely immersed. There is no inner outer. There is a single isolated solenoid or a isolated coil. So this is the self-inductance of a solenoid. So it is similar to the mutual inductance. There we have subscript 1 and 2. Here we don't have any subscript. So this is when the medium in the solenoid is vacuum. If you fill this solenoid with some other material, then L can be written as mu naught mu r n square pi r square L, and later on we will see this is nothing but mu. Like permittivity of the medium, now we have permeability of the medium. So if the medium is not vacuum, there we have a dielectric constant. Here we have relative permeability. This is relative permeability that we have discussed in previous chapter also. So this is the case. So again, self-inductance depend on, or we can say it depends on, clearly from the formula, geometry of coil or solenoid. So this is the geometry, radius and the length, area, and second, permeability of the medium. It does not depend on the current. Remember this, it does not depend on the current. It is similar to the capacitance. Capacitance does not depend on Q and V. It depends on the dimension and the medium between the two plates. So self-inductance also depend on the geometry of the coil or the geometry of the solenoid, as well the permeability of the medium. So this is one note you have to remember. The second is self-inductance is analog of self-inductance is the analog of mass in mechanics. So whatever role is placed by mass in the mechanics, same role is placed by self-inductance. So it is self-inductance play the role of inertia. It is equivalent to the mass in mechanics. So the self-inductance play role of inertia, and in mechanics who play the role of inertia? Mass. That is, more is a mass, more is the inertia. What is inertia? An inability of a body to change its state by itself. So no body will change its state by itself unless and until an external force is applied. More is the mass, more is the inertia. So it means self-inductance play the role of opposition. Self-inductance play the role of inductance. It opposes the growth and the decay of current, that we have said earlier also, and whatever EMF is induced in it, that will be called as back EMF. So self-inductance, remember, first thing, it play the role of inertia. It is equivalent to mass. It depends on geometry and the permeability of vacuum. And self-induced EMF is called back EMF. It opposes the growth and the decay of the current. So what is self-inductance? Self-inductance is a property of any coil which opposes the growth and the decay of the current. Self-inductance is a property of a coil which opposes the growth and the decay of the current. So in the coming lecture we will see how much work is required to be done in establishing the current. So when I try to establish current I, now remember this concluding note about the inductance. Whenever I try to apply or set up this current I in the solenoid or in any coil, whenever I try to set up this current, the inductance will come into picture, similar to the friction or similar to inertia. It will oppose the change. It does not like that the current should set up in the solenoid or the coil. So we need to do the work against this self-induced EMF, and whatever work we will do, the same work will be stored in this coil or a solenoid, which will be called as an energy stored in an inductor, that we will see in the next lecture. Have a nice day.